Ever get that feeling, when something just clicks and you suddenly get how something works, like really get it?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, today we're going to try and get that feeling with something we all use every single day. Our vision.
Okay, yeah.
We're doing a deep dive today into the work of Ibn al-Haytham, born way back in 965 CE.
Yeah, it's going back a bit.
He wasn't just any scientist, though.
Right. He was into so many different areas: optics, physics, astronomy, math, engineering, you name it.
Wow. Like a true Renaissance man.
Exactly. And today, we really want to unpack his insights, especially about optics, and see why they still matter so much, even now.
Without getting too bogged down in the technical stuff.
Yeah, we'll try to keep it light.
Okay, so his most famous book, Kitab al-Manazir, which translates to the Book of Optics, was a total game changer, right?
It really was. It basically changed how people thought about light and vision forever.
What was so different about it, though?
Well, before al-Haytham, people mostly just, reasoned about light. Philosophically, but he was all about experiments.
Ah, so he actually tested things out.
Exactly. He'd carefully study how light acted when it went through things like water, and then he'd record all these detailed observations about the eye. He shifted the focus from just thinking about light to, actually demonstrating how it worked.
So he was a big believer in learning by doing, basically.
100%. And this was a pretty big deal back then.
That seems so obvious now.
Right. But this is where we get the scientific method from. He was a huge proponent of empirical evidence. That's basically evidence you get from observing and testing, not just from logic.
Okay, so he kind of set the stage for how we do science today.
For sure. His work was crucial for that.
Okay, let's talk about his biggest discovery then, vision. So before him, everyone thought our eyes, sent out beams of light to help us see.
Yeah, like the ancient Greeks, that was their theory.
And he completely debunked that.
Totally flipped it on its head. Through some really ingenious experiments, he showed that it's actually the opposite. Light bounces off things and then goes into our eyes, making a picture on our retinas.
And this is still how we understand it today, right?
Absolutely. He nailed it. And his findings were so influential that even later scientists like Johannes Kepler built upon them.
So how did he prove this?
Well, one of the things he used was this thing called a Camera Obscura. It's a super simple device, basically a dark room with a tiny hole in one wall.
Like a pinhole camera.
Yeah, exactly. And it shows how light travels in straight lines. It projects an image onto the opposite wall, but upside down.
That's so cool.
It is, right? And it also shows how light can form a focused image. And this is the basic principle behind how all sorts of optical instruments work.
Oh, okay.
He also spent a lot of time studying how light bends, what we call refraction, like how a straw looks bent when you put it in a glass of water.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
So his research on this was really important for later inventions too, like eyeglasses, magnifying glasses, and even telescopes.
It's crazy to think that all these things are based on such a simple concept,
And think about how different our world would be without them. People needing glasses wouldn't be able to see clearly, we wouldn't have telescopes to explore space, and so much more.
That's so true. It's amazing to think how far his work has reached. And his work, by the way, was originally written in Arabic, right?
Yes, it was. And centuries later, it was translated into Latin. And then it went on to inspire some of the biggest names in Western science: Roger Bacon, Johannes Kepler, even Isaac Newton.
So his ideas basically transcended time and cultures.
Yeah, it's incredible. And it really shows how scientific knowledge builds upon itself. His work was a vital stepping stone for all those who came after him.
Okay, so just to recap, Ibn al-Haytham really revolutionized how we understand light and vision, mainly through his focus on experimentation. And his work in optics is still the foundation for so much in physics and engineering.
Absolutely. And his legacy is a great example of what we can achieve through curiosity and careful observation.
So listeners, here's something to think about. How different would our world be today without al-Haytham's discoveries? Think about all the technology we rely on. Cameras, glasses, all these things wouldn't exist as we know them without his understanding of light.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah. And next time you use any of these things, take a moment to appreciate how it all comes back to this one man and his love for science.
It's a great reminder of the power of curiosity.
It really is.
And careful observation.